Welcome, everyone, to ASMR Reality. Tonight is the finale of the Unsolved Mysteries series, and I want to start by reading the story of Granger Taylor. This was shared with me by ASMR Wishes, and it was not in the top 50 list, but it should have been. So we're going to start with that. I'm trading this out for O.J. Simpson because you guys, you'd have to be living under a rock to not know that story. So I'm going to trade Granger Taylor for O.J. Okay. I first found out about Granger Taylor while scrolling through a blog about aliens and UFOs back in the summer of 2015. Initially, I couldn't believe what I was reading. Here's a guy who was, by all accounts, a mechanical genius. He hauled an old train out of the forest to restore it, rebuilt a World War II aircraft, and even made his own spaceship. To top it off, he supposedly believed he could communicate with aliens. Then I learned that one night, at the age of 32, Taylor had mysteriously vanished from the face of the earth. I was hooked. Over the next 4 years, I made it my mission to find out as much as I could about Taylor's life and the circumstances of his strange disappearance. On the stormy night of November 29th, 1980, Granger Taylor left a note for his parents to find. It said that he had gone to board an alien spaceship after recurring dreams had told him he was going to embark on a 42-month interstellar journey. This is the letter. Dear Mother and Father, I have gone away to walk aboard an alien spaceship as recurring dreams assured a 42-month interstellar voyage to explore the vast universe and then return. I am leaving behind all my possessions to you as I will no longer require the use of any. Please use the instructions in my will as a guide to help. Love, Granger. That night, Taylor vanished. Both his family and the police spent months searching for him, but no one could uncover any leads on where Taylor could be. In March 1986, local forestry workers found a blown-out vehicle somewhere near British Columbia's Mount Prevost, not far from the Taylor family home. Taylor was familiar with dynamite, and some had gone missing from his parents' property the night he disappeared. The police were called, and they were able to confirm that the vehicle identification number on the wreckage matched that of Taylor's Datsun pickup. Bone fragments and a piece of Taylor's shirt were also found at the scene. There is a photo of the exploded Datsun pickup online that you can look at. Also, a letter of the note is there. When my story about Taylor came out in the summer of 2016, I still wasn't sure what had really happened. Was he abducted by aliens and taken to space? Did delusions cause Taylor to blow himself up that night? Was it all an elaborate hoax that Taylor created so he could disappear and start a new life? Was he recruited by a secret spy agency, or did he die by suicide, masking his intentions and a suspicious note to ease the burden on his family? Now, after years of researching Taylor and working on the CBC documentary Spaceman, I have my theories. I do want to preface them, however, by reiterating that I never met Taylor. Any ideas I have about his mindset and motivations are based solely on my own research and interviews with his family and friends. It is my belief that Taylor struggled to fit into his small Vancouver Island community time working on machines because it was his only true way of expressing himself. His creations made him feel like there was a purpose to life. Maybe that's why some of us are so attracted to Taylor's story. He's the epitome of an outsider just trying to find his place. And aren't we all striving to find purpose in what we do? I think at some point he got tired of being different and searching for meaning, on Earth at least. At the time of Taylor's disappearance, pop culture was alive with the idea that something was out there in space, and Taylor became obsessed with interstellar travel. Soon he was building a spaceship and imagining starting life anew somewhere else. It's unclear what fueled Taylor's belief that he could communicate with aliens. There's some evidence to suggest Taylor used psychedelic drugs, and it's well documented that he smoked quite a bit of cannabis. He also may have been prone to depression and bouts of mania, which could have played a role in some way. Whatever the reasons, I believe Taylor was convinced extraterrestrials had chosen him to fulfill a greater universal purpose, something that far exceeded anything he could accomplish on our planet. My gut tells me that this was Taylor's thinking the night he disappeared, and that he perished on that mountainside in a fiery explosion. But often, on a clear evening, I find myself looking up at the night sky thinking about him. The idea that there may be something out there, extraterrestrials, another universe, or galaxy filled with life, it's overwhelming. Then I'll catch a glimpse of a shooting star or a meteor passing through the Earth's atmosphere and smile. If anyone could find a way to travel to another world beyond the cosmos, it would have been Granger Taylor. After all, when he put his mind to something, he did it. There's photos of him online as well. I suppose that his truck being found with fragments of human remains and dynamite missing from his house, I would say that he probably did the unthinkable, and likely his life was difficult. That's what I believe. I would like to believe that, he boarded a spaceship, but my gut tells me that it's more of a tragic tale of the struggle of humanity. And, that's what I believe. It's sad. So, in essence, this technically is unsolved because they haven't proven those remains are his, but logically, I think we can deduce that it's definitely more probable that he is no longer with us. Okay, let's move on to the list so we can finish it up. We were skipping OJ. The mystery of Overtoun Bridge. The Overtoun Bridge in Dumbarton, Scotland seems to call dogs to jump to their death. Since the early 1960s, over 50 canines have perished and hundreds more have leapt but survived, with some returning for a second leap onto the jagged rocks that lie 50 feet below. The Scottish Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals has sent representatives to investigate the bridge, but had no luck. In terms of scientific truth, it is debatable whether dogs are capable of forming a S attempt. That's unaliving, the word for unalive. Yet something is luring dogs off the Overtoun Bridge, often from the same spot and always on sunny, dry days. Many theories have emerged, including that the bridge is haunted. A small animal is marking the area with an irresistible scent, or a sound exists below the bridge that only dogs can hear. Whatever is causing this phenomenon, dog owners crossing this bridge should be wise to take caution and keep their dogs on a leash. Oh God, I can't even imagine that happening. goodness. Yeah. Next, Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 disappearance. On March 8th, 2014, while flying from Malaysia to China, a Boeing 777 carrying 239 passengers and crew members vanished into thin air. The global search effort, the largest in aviation history, only turned up a mere 20 pieces of aircraft debris. However, the Prime Minister of Malaysia declined to comment other than to say that the aircraft disappeared over the Indian Ocean. The lack of closure has propelled multiple theories, including a hijacking, a United States capture, a crew suicide. I said the word. Oh, darn it. It's just because of YouTube. I don't want to say it. I think they flag those videos. I've been told they do. It was reported that the pilot was having marital problems, a fire aboard the aircraft, vertical entry into the ocean, a meteor strike, and even an alien abduction. Despite the passage of time and $160 million spent scouring thousands of square miles of ocean, the disappearance of Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 and the fate of the 239 people aboard remains a mystery. Yeah, I think it's highly probable that potentially, the pilot could have done something. They're capable of turning off their beacons, and there's been other documented cases of pilots doing this where they purposefully crash, and it's beneficial to the families of the pilots when they do it, so their families are taken care of. It could be one reason why somebody would want to do it. I don't know, but when they hit at that severe speed, they nearly disintegrate. The same thing happened during 9/11 for the Shanksville, Pennsylvania crash. That was the fourth plane that just crashed into the ground, and there was literally hardly nothing left of it. Okay, so what are we going to check out next? Some of these are I'm not the old ones, we pretty much know back then their mysteries aren't as much of a mystery because they had no technology, no surveillance. It was just when you got crimes were so much more easily left to mystery because we didn't have DNA, we didn't have surveillance, just know all the GPS, all the different ways we are tracked as individuals and monitored. It wasn't the case back then, so they just don't hold as much credence for me. So let's find another one here. There's one about Alcatraz, about the guys escaping Alcatraz, but that's a pretty popular story. I think most of you would know that. I don't think they survived, for the record. Let's see. I'm trying to get to one that would be a good one. Okay, the Michelle von Emster case. On April 15th, 1994, in San Diego, California, around Sunset Cliffs, two surfers found the body of 25-year-old Michelle von Emster floating face down in a kelp bed. The body was taken to the lifeguard headquarters. She was found naked, wearing only a brass bracelet and 2 rings. She had a butterfly tattoo on her shoulder and had long brown hair. Medical examiner Robert Engel also noted she had large tearing-type wounds with missing tissue. As the body was missing most of its right leg, he believed that Michelle had not been in the water long and marked her cause of death as unknown. Nevertheless, there was an overwhelming consensus that her death was caused by a shark attack. One day later, on April 16th, medical examiner Brian Blackburn conducted a formal autopsy. In addition to her right leg being missing from the thigh down, Michelle's neck was also broken, as if she had been in a car wreck, but she had broken ribs, scrapes, bruises, and contusions on her face. Blackburn also also reported finding sand in her mouth, throat, lungs, and stomach, and that she was alive when the injuries were inflicted. According to his timeline, he concluded that she got into the water around midnight, and that this was indeed a shark attack, because lifeguards, harbor police, and marine biologists at Scripps Institution of Oceanography told him so. However, there are things that don't add up for the cause of death being a shark attack. Blackburn had never seen a death caused by a shark before, and neither had anyone who had initially saw the body. The experts at the Scripps Institution never saw Michelle's body, making their initial inquiries questionable. Additionally, many experts say today that this death wasn't caused by a great white, as the autopsy stated, including Ralph Collier, the leading expert in Pacific Coast white shark behavior and ecology. After seeing Michelle's body, Collier said, "When a shark bites off part of a limb, the break is clean, almost like you put it on a table saw. What remained of Michelle's femur was anything but. It looked like what happens when you get a piece of bamboo and whittle it down to a point with a knife. I've looked at close to 100 photos of cases that I have reviewed over the years, and I've never seen any bones that came to a point. Plus, it's important to note, once Michelle's leg had been severed, she would have bled out quickly from a severed femoral artery. This would have made it extremely difficult to take a large breath, as she would have had to have done to get the sand into her stomach. This makes the theory that a shark forced her to the bottom of the ocean, where she took a breath and swallowed sand, extremely unlikely. Officially, Michelle's death is considered the result of a great white shark, but the true nature and circumstances of her untimely demise remain a mystery." Well, this is another one that I just have to side with the majority. I think this just sounds like it was a shark attack. And it's one of the reasons that I really just do not have any desire to go into the ocean, like with my body. Now, going to the beach, yes, like I love the sun, I love the ocean view, I love the sound of the waves. The ocean is fascinating to me. How the tides work, how the moon affects the tides. It's just, it's truly, it's like, it makes me think of the earth and the universe and how fascinating it all is. And I get inspired when I think of it as far as inspiration about the universe and those types of thoughts, realizing just what a speck I am on this massive ball, and what a speck this massive ball is in the entirety of the universe. And when I say entirety, we don't even know if it ends. We've never found an end. It's just eons and eons of other planets and stars and suns. It's fascinating, truly. It's I heard a saying one time. This wasn't a saying, it was a quote from a physicist at, I think it was Oxford University. I know it was in England somewhere, because he was a royal, he was like whatever they name, he was the royal physicist, or whatever the name they give the physicist that the monarchy refers to if they need any questions answered. And I think it was royal, but he said, the creatures that are alive on this planet the day that our sun expires will look as different from us as we do from amoeba. And that statement truly, that statement just, I don't know if that really thinking about, how we have evolved, and that in this little glimpse of time, that we are this creature, that when we look back, that this creature will evolve and go. Of course, we can't see it because 100 years or 200 years in the scope of billions is just nothing. It is such a fraction of time that, because our eyes can't see it, it makes it hard to believe it. And that's what a lot of these mysteries are like, because we weren't there, and because there's not evidence, we're allowed the option of deciding what do we think happened. And like, our minds are not content with just, we don't know what happened. It's like, if you hear that we don't know what happened, like, imagine that somebody called you, a friend of yours called you today and said, my wife didn't come home tonight and I don't know where she's at. Well, you don't know where she's at because her husband doesn't know where she's at. But you don't just take the thought that we don't know where she's at. Your mind starts thinking, where might she be? Could she have gotten in a car crash on the way home? I mean, some people would just think, oh, she's fine, she'll be home anytime, just call me when she gets there, and they wouldn't be worried. But they would still have thoughts of where she is. They would imagine. That's how our brains work. We want answers, and even when we don't know them, we somehow come up with our own conclusion. And so, with that quote, I can understand where someone that is religious cannot believe that, and wouldn't believe it, and might not let their mind. They might hear that quote and say, "That's just BS," because Jesus is coming back, or Allah is going to end everything before then, and that we are the center of the universe, that we are, God's creation, and that this is the final rendition of this creature that's currently called a human being. But I have to believe, and I do believe, that it is far more probable that this thing is just going to keep on going. And that sun is about halfway through its life. 6 billion, it's either 6 or 8 billion. It's got 6 billion with a B years left. It may be 8 billion. But if you think about the sun, what is it? It's just a ball of burning fuel. And that fuel is on fire. It's no different than if you poured gasoline on your driveway and lit it. It would light, but eventually the fuel would expire, and it would put itself out once the fuel burnt. Well, that's what the sun is. It is just, it seems like an endless tank of burning fuel, but it's not endless. And we have seen examples of other stars exploding, and that's what happens. When it expires, it will explode, and it will cease life on Earth. I mean, I think it would happen so quickly that no being on the planet would know. It would be like a light switch. It would be over. And it's interesting to think that obviously you and I are not going to see that. Almost it's a blessing to know we get to complete our life all the way to the end, whatever that is. And even though that may not be beautiful, it's better than the alternative of just waiting for the light switch to shut off and it all being over, But one day it will be. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this series, and I will be back with something new very soon.